Welcome to Lesson 6.5's Math Moment. Today students continue to work with volume, but today they found they were working with word problems that had one extra step. So after they found the volume, they had something else to do, or in the second example, we're going to actually find a missing dimension. We have the volume and we have to find the height. So let's first start with example 1. It says, find the volume and write the expression. This problem says, Isabel's sandbox is 6 feet by 7 feet by 1 feet. And we remind students that by just means times. So that kind of helps you out when you're thinking about it. It says, sand fills half of the box. So when I think about half, I always think times 1/2 or divide by 2. Those are the same thing. But that's very important to remember. So what is the volume of the sand? So I'm not actually finding the volume of the sand box. I'm just finding the volume of the sand, which only fills half of the box. So to start this problem, I am going to find the volume of the whole sand box by taking length times width times height. My dimensions here are 6 times 7 times 1. I know anything times 1 is just going to stay the same. So my volume is just 6 times 7. I know that 6 times 7 is 42. Now, they have found the volume of the sandbox by finding length times width times height and finding the answer 42. But they have not answered the question because the question says what is the volume of the sand, and sand only fills half of the box. So this is a two-step problem, and I'm going to have to chop 42 in half. Again, there are two ways to do that, either by timesing by 1/2 or dividing by 2. I'm going to go ahead and just divide by 2. Chop that 42 in half. So 2 goes into 4, 2 times exactly. Then I bring down my 2. 2 goes into 2, 1 time exactly. For a final answer of 21 feet cubed of sand. So again, they could really answer two questions here. The sandbox is 42, has a volume of 42 feet cubed, and the sand takes up 21 feet cubed, which is the answer that we want. Now let's move to example 2. Example 2 says, find the missing dimension. Remind students that dimensions are one of our 3 parts, either length, width, or height. So it says, a fish tank has a volume of 240. So I know the volume already. It says the length is 12 inches and the width is 4 inches. What is the height of the tank? So what I encourage students to do is still to fill out their formula for volume and then to plug in anything that they have. So they have that the volume is 240. They have that the length is 12, that the width is 4, and then they're still missing the height. So what we would do in this situation is we would go ahead and multiply what we have. We have 12 times 4, so I'm going to solve that first. 4 times 2 is 8, 4 times 1 is 4, for a final answer of 48. And then I'm going to rewrite what I have left to do. So I still have 240 over here as the volume, and then I have 48 times h equals 240. So when we're thinking about that problem, 48 times something gives me 240. So to find that something, I have to do the opposite operation. The opposite of times is division. So I'm going to take the two numbers I have, which is 240 and 48, and I'm going to divide to help me find the missing height. So 48 cannot go into 2. 48 cannot go into 24. So I'm stuck with figuring out how many times 48 can go into 240. So I don't know my 48s by heart, so I'm going to have to do some guessing and checking. I always encourage students that if they do any guessing and checking, keep it off to the side and do not erase their answer because they might need that fact later on. So 3 times 8 is 24, 3 times 4 is 12, plus 2 is 14. Now this didn't get me quite what I want, but I know now that I need to go higher than 3 to get close to that 240. So I'm going to try 5 and go up a couple. 5 times 8 is 40. 5 times 4 is 20. Plus 4 is 24, which gets me exactly what I want. So 48 times 5 is exactly 240, which helps me know when I plug this in into that h, that 240 would equal 48 times 5. So that tells me that my missing height is 5 inches. So if your student comes across a problem on their homework where they're missing the length or they're missing the width, they would do the exact same thing. Plug in everything that they have, solve by multiplying with the two numbers that they have, and then divide with the volume. If you have any other questions about this lesson, make sure to see your math teacher.